Hey guys, what's up? I'm Erin and welcome back to the channel. So you did it. You did everything right. You saved diligently, you invested for the long term, and now you're heading into retirement with investable assets of $1.5 million. Feels pretty good, right? But there's a catch. That success could very well become your biggest tax problem, because once required minimum distributions start, your account balance just may very well continue to grow, and so too does your tax problem. What starts as a small withdrawal at 73 can turn into six-figure income in your 80s, even if you're not spending more, and that could push you into a higher tax bracket, increase your Medicare premiums, and cause more of your Social Security to be taxed. So in this video, I want to show you exactly how that happens and perhaps give you some steps you can take to get ahead of that. Here's where it all starts. At the age of 73, the IRS mandates that you take a withdrawal from your traditional IRA or traditional 401ks, account types like that. This is called a required minimum distribution, or an RMD, and it is mandatory. The amount you must withdraw isn't fixed. It depends on two things: your age and the size of your account on December 31st of the previous year. As you get older, and if your balance grows, the percentage the IRS forces you to withdraw goes up. And just a quick heads up, in 2033, the RMD age increases again, going from 73 to 75, thanks to Secure 2.0. Now, most people, when they go into retirement, tend to expect their income to decline. But if you've been a diligent saver and built up a hefty traditional account balance that you are then forced to take RMDs from, these withdrawals can absolutely increase your income and your taxes as you age. And here's the part that catches a lot of people off guard. Even after you start taking RMDs, your IRA can keep growing. Why? Well, let's say your investments are capturing a 7 or an 8% rate of return, and when you start taking RMDs, you're only taking 3 or 4%, at least in the beginning, so this is math kind of working against you. Let's do an example and show what it really looks like. If you retire with $1.5 million in an IRA, you take your required distributions each year and earn 8% on the remaining balance. Here's what happens. Your RMD increases, but so too does the balance on your account. Even though you're withdrawing tens of thousands of dollars every single year, your account balance still climbs. By age 80, you have more money in your IRA than when you started taking RMDs. By age 90, you're forced to withdraw over $200,000 in a single year. All of it taxed as ordinary income. So while you were expecting to land in a lower tax bracket in retirement, for someone who is a diligent saver, like in this situation, you could find yourself in the exact opposite situation. Also, remember that RMDs don't happen in a vacuum. If you've built up $1.5 million in an IRA by the time you enter into retirement, that puts you in nearly the 80th percentile in terms of investable assets for this age group. That probably means you were a decent earner and a very diligent saver. So let's say our retiree, we'll call him Jim, qualifies for $3,000 a month from Social Security. His wife Diane gets $2,500 a month. That's a combined $5,500 a month, or $66,000 a year just from Social Security. Then at age 73, Jim starts to take his RMDs, that $56,600 that we talked about earlier. But remember, that's just one layer. That's going to stack right on top of his Social Security income. So now this household has an income of about $120,000. That's before touching anything in a Roth account, before perhaps having a pension or even a taxable brokerage account. The main point is that RMDs are just one layer, and for many retirees, they have multiple income streams, and so when they have to start taking RMDs, it's in addition to all of the other income streams they are receiving. And here's something that tends to surprise people in retirement. Even though you're not working, your income can continue to go up in retirement. Why? Two big reasons: required minimum distributions and annual cost of living adjustments to Social Security. Let's go back to Jim and Diane. By the age of 80, their Social Security benefits have grown to nearly $76,000. We're assuming a 2% cost of living annual adjustment. Their RMDs in that year, $94,000. That gives them a household income of nearly $170,000, and they're living a pretty normal lifestyle. Fast forward to the age 85, and that income continues to go up. At this point, Social Security may have grown to about $84,000 a year. RMD, now that sits around $140,000 a year. That's a total income of nearly $223,000. And here's the kicker. They didn't earn a single dollar from work. That income is coming from government formulas and portfolio growth. And yes, it can have very real tax consequences. Maybe you're thinking, so what's the big deal if your income goes up in retirement? Well, more income means more taxes, and here's where it starts to sting a little. First, you might land in a higher tax bracket. It doesn't take much to drift into the 28 or perhaps even the 32% bracket if you were a diligent saver and now have hefty RMDs later in life and very meaningful Social Security benefits. Second, it can raise your Medicare premiums. There's something called IRMA, the income-related monthly adjustment amount, which just means you'll pay more for the exact same coverage once you cross certain income thresholds. Third, more of your Social Security benefits can become taxable. It's a slightly messy formula, but the short version is, the higher your income, the greater percentage of your benefits Social Security can tax. And finally, you might lose access to valuable tax credits or deductions. Things like energy-efficient credits, large medical expense deductions, or even ACA premium subsidies if you retire before 65. So even if you've done everything right, you saved consistently and invested wisely, your retirement income could push you into a tax bracket you never even expected. And here's the part I really want to emphasize. This isn't just a wealthy retiree problem. If you've been a consistent saver, lived below your means, invested wisely, did this throughout the course of your entire life, this could absolutely be you. This could absolutely be the everyday millionaire. Thanks to inflation, compounding, and longer retirements, more and more Americans are walking straight into this tax trap without even realizing it. This is often what success looks like in our retirement system, and it's also why proactive planning can be so powerful. The good news? You're not stuck. There are smart and practical steps that you can take to hopefully reduce your future tax burden, and you don't have to completely overhaul your retirement plan. First and foremost, start with Roth conversions. If you are not yet 73, so you don't have to take RMDs yet, this could be a really golden opportunity to do a Roth conversion because maybe you find yourself in lower income earning years. This is a great time to convert money when you are in these lower tax brackets. Yes, you will pay taxes now, but hopefully at that lower rate. Then once that money is put into a Roth account, it gets to grow completely tax-free, and Roth accounts don't have any RMDs, and by moving money from your traditional account, you reduce the future RMDs that you face from those accounts. Make the most of your gap years. These might be the years where you retire but aren't yet collecting Social Security, or maybe you're collecting Social Security but you're not yet at an age where RMDs are required. These can be years where you're in an incredibly low tax bracket and a great time to do some tax planning, to move some money from traditional accounts to Roth accounts so you reduce those future RMDs and you get these funds into an account that doesn't come with an RMD. Diversify your tax buckets. Instead of relying solely on tax-deferred accounts, make sure you have a healthy mix. You want these Roth accounts because this will allow you to withdraw funds completely tax-free, and they don't have to do RMDs. You want brokerage accounts. This gives you unlimited access to your funds, and you do have more favorable tax rates here when it comes to long-term capital gains rates. And of course, these tax-deferred accounts like the traditional IRA or the traditional 401k, it's still good to have some funds here because you can strategically pull from different buckets to control your taxes in retirement. And if you find yourself in a situation where you're more heavily weighted towards, say, traditional accounts, well, if you're in the middle of your working years, well, now shift. Maybe you switch over to contributing to the Roth 401k. You always have these options to create balance without doing big moves. And let's talk about two powerful ways your traditional IRA can shape your legacy, one positive and one potentially painful. First, the best. If you are charitably inclined, consider using Qualified Charitable Distributions, QCDs. If you are 70 and a half, you can gift directly from your traditional IRA to a charity. The gifted amount counts towards your RMD, it avoids taxes entirely for both you and the charity, and it lowers your adjusted gross income. This is one of the most efficient tax moves in the playbook. But on the flip side, inheriting a traditional IRA or a traditional 401k can be a real tax headache, especially for an adult child who happens to be in, say, their 50s or 60s. Let's say your parent passes in their 80s and leaves behind a sizable traditional IRA. On paper, it looks like a generous inheritance, but now you have to start withdrawing that money, often within 10 years, and often during your peak earning years. Those withdrawals are going to stack right on top of your salary, any other investment incomes, any other bonuses you may experience, and it very well could push you into an incredibly high tax bracket. It's what many advisors call a tax torpedo, a sudden spike in income that hits hard and taxes even harder, and it's not uncommon. Sure, inheriting $1 million IRA is a good problem to have, but the tax consequences are very real and often underestimated. That's why proactive planning isn't just about making the most of your retirement. It can truly be one of the best and most loving things you do for your heirs. None of this is about gaming the system. It's about thinking ahead, working smarter, and protecting the nest egg you've worked so hard to build. You may think if you go into retirement with $1.5 million in investments that you've already done the hard part. But the truth is, managing this money comes with its own set of challenges. Your tax bill may continue to rise even if your lifestyle doesn't, simply because the IRS says you have to continue taking more. The good news is you worked very hard to build this nest egg, and there are absolutely ways you can protect it. You just have to be proactive. So what are your thoughts? Share them in a comment down below. I post new videos every single week. If you got anything at all out of this one, please give it a like. If you're new here, please consider subscribing, or if you know of someone who might get something out of this type of content, please consider sharing. I'll see you soon. Bye. Why? Because let's say your investments are capturing a seventh. Instead, that income is coming from government portfolio. I'm not sure if I did the other one, so I'm gonna. And if you find yourself in a situation